Oh, AV, please do tell me that you're currently tuned in to the Nintendo E3 Direct.
Oh ho ho ho, Monsieur Peon. That is currently what is being displayed on my screen receptacle.
Charming, charming. That's very fantastic to hear. I would be quite pleased if they were to announce the evangelical character from the hit Dragon Quest series called The Hero.
Oh, that would be positively stately of the lads to do such a thing.
What do we have here, AV? I see Marth, and he's jousting with Link. And I see a man on horseback. Could that be the hero?
Ludicrous.
Electrifying!
Positively ostentatious.
Repository!
Monumental.
Complicated!
What?
Whew. That was quite the doozy now. I think, AV, the only thing that could top an announcement so bone-shattering would be Banjo-Kazooie.
It would be absolutely meretricious of them to do such a thing. I mean, putting Banjo in the game, so swank. Such a peacockish move. Why would they do such a thing? It's ridiculous.
Some things are just too good to be true, AV. I think that would just be a metropolitan, an industrious sort of a miraculous occasion. And
Absolutely.
I don't think this mortal world is ready. No.
No, not at all.
But what is that there? I see Diddy Kong with his old pal Donkey Kong. And is that King K. Rool in the treehouse?
It is indeed him, and who is with them in stride.
Oh, that's Banjo-Kazooie!
Oh my god, it's absolutely monumental!
Majestic!
Bombastic!
Phosphorific!
Their souls are positively vituperative!
Interdimensional! Welcome, broadcasting to the entirety of the Super Smash Bros. Community. This is Beyond the Metagame. I'm your host, Peon, this week live from Germany. I'm joined, as always, by wonderful co-host, AV. AV, how's it going, big guy?
You know, I've never actually been to Europe, so this I guess until now.
Come on, bro. You can't be breaking the fourth wall 30 seconds into the episode.
That's fair. I'm sorry, but where in Germany are we, and can you please show me around?
So I've only ever been to one place in Germany. It was called Dusseldorf. I apologize to my German ancestors who are rolling on the grave right now at my German pronunciation. But I was there for pretty much a layover. And I was like, just trying to get some fresh air. And I'm like, man, everybody smokes in Germany. What the hell's wrong with Dusseldorf? And I'm looking around. I could barely see because of all the smoke in the air. And I was like coughing. And then I realized I was standing in like a 10-foot by 10-foot smoking area. And it was like the only one of its kind at the airport. And everywhere else, it was beautiful fresh air. And then like right as I realized this, I had to go back into the airport. So look, I gotta say, I'm sure Germany is a great country, but I had a really bad 30 minutes there.
All right, great. You could take me to that one smoking spot. That's the highlights of your Germany trip. All right, man. Yeah, and we're standing right in that smoking spot, recording this episode live.
Yeah.
And,
so if you hear AV coughing up like a film of nicotine infused gunk, at any point you'll know why. But AV, man, how you been? It's been a while. Last week we kind of took a little break. We didn't intend to, nor did we really notify any of you guys. So I apologize. We were looking for an episode last week, but I think it ended up being for the best, at least as far as you or I are concerned, because we were just both so excited to record today. I think it's going to be a great episode.
Yeah, man, I'm really excited to record today. It was a good break, and I have a lot of things that I want to talk about, and I'm really excited to get into that today.
Hell yeah, man. Well, before we get into the episode proper, how's your experience been with Smash recently? I know you were telling me off air that you've kind of really gotten, remotivated, and you've been learning a lot of like tech skill. Like, I heard you recently mastered attack canceling. Do you want to talk about like any of your recent developments?
Yeah, sure. So there's this one clip that was floating around the Smash universe of this DK player called IDK. Now this DK player is awesome. I've played with him at Genesis. He's a really cool dude. But he recently absolutely brutalized this Shulk player on stream, and it was really unfortunate because it was two extremely quick three stocks. And in this game, I think every game he got like 4 or 5 dash attack to attack canceled like quadruple bear. And the thing is that I've been missing that. I've been going for it a ton, but I've been doing the raw version instead of the attack canceled version. So then I think after I saw that clip, I was like, nope, screw it. I'm learning it right now. And then I sat down and I practiced the crap out of it. I labbed something for the first time in ages, and now I am perfect at it. Like I was so inspired by that clip. I was just like, I was like, I'm going to do this. And for some reason, like getting inspired and finally learning a new tech and getting that like rewarding feeling of mastering this made me feel so good about the game. So I kind of have this like reinvigorated spirit about Smash. So that's where I'm at.
That's really cool, dude. It kind of, you can almost really sometimes like the motivation can come from such a weird spot. Like it might just be a clip you see. It might be like, a rival or someone like talks smack about your gameplay, and you just kind of get this like second wind and really want to invest time back into the game. And I've actually kind of had a similar experience recently, I guess, in terms of finding motivation to play because
Mhm.
I relocated. I'm now a part of the NorCal community, just like you are. I moved from Southern California to Northern California, and I've gone to a few tournaments here and gotten to play against some really good competition. A Prodigy, you guys probably know, is a really great young Mario player. Recently beat Cosmos, who's a better inkling than I am. Got to play against him, lost, had a competitive set, and got to play against legit, arguably the best Diddy Kong player in the world. Uh, I can't think of one that's better than him. I mean, there might be an argument to be made there. There's probably some like I don't know, like Diddy Kong and like Peru that like I don't know about, but I digress. And he's a fantastic player, and the competition in general is a lot higher in NorCal than my previous region. But I've had a lot of fun. I've been getting like some fourth place finishes, some fifth place finishes, and some pretty stacked like 60 plus people tournaments. And I actually got to play doubles with someone who listens to the show. I met a guy at my first NorCal tournament. His name's Nomex. Shouts to Nomex. And he's like, "Yo, dude, I listen to the podcast." Oh, dope, dude. So he's a super nice guy. We played a bunch of friendlies together, and then the next day we were at another tournament together. He's like, "Dude, let's team." Actually, I suggested it. He's like, "I've never teamed before," and then we got second out of like 15 teams, and it was his first time teaming in Ultimate. So it was really fun. It was a great week of Smash for me.
That's so cool, dude. I heard about that and I was like, wait, and then you actually like outplaced a bunch of pretty solid teams too.
Yeah, and everybody thought we were like a static team because it was Nomex's first time at that tournament in a long time too. So people thought we like went there together with these like new dudes, like, but we had just met each other the previous day, never teamed before. So it was like, I think we need to have that BTM synergy. Like, I wonder if there's ever been like two listeners that show that like met up and we're just gods at doubles together. I hope so. I feel like there's gotta be something to that.
I mean, you play as Pikachu, right? So it is a static team, technically.
Oh, I gotta hand it to you. That's pretty good one, Abhi.
All right.
Yeah, man. I want to get right into the topic of the day. We're gonna talk about burnout. We kind of touched on it previously in reference to us needing to take a break last week from the show, and I know that we both had reinvigorated play recently, like we just talked about. But before that, we're kind of feeling a bit of burnout in terms of the gameplay, and it's kind of not necessarily a problem, but something I've observed in terms of the wider community and the BTM community specifically. Like a lot of people saying, I like this game a lot, but I need to take a little time off. It's just been hard for me to think about the game, or I just haven't really wanted to play it recently, and people kind of dealing with that and reacting to that, and I just want to like acknowledge it, talk about the pros and the cons, and just kind of explore the concept of being a little burnout of Smash Ultimate. AV, do you have anything to say before we get into the episode proper?
No.
Well, all that and more in just 1 second. Welcome back to Beyond the Metagame. This week, AV and I are here to discuss Burnout and Smash Ultimate. I'll let you go first with it, man. Like, have you been feeling particularly burned out? I mean, I know I touched the intro a little bit that you have been feeling a bit burnt out, but like, uncork that for me. Like, what have been the causes of your burnout, and what are your thoughts about it? I guess just I want to hear everything.
I mean, okay, if we really want to get into it, it was like partially environmental, partially like due to work, and then at some point it kind of became habitual. Let me elaborate. So at the beginning, I was like, I had a ton of things to do with work. I was basically pushing on with some side projects that didn't really have to do with getting better at Smash. And then at some point, like I missed enough tournaments, and then it just kind of like rolled out of control. I was still kind of playing games with the BTM community, and I was still playing quick play. I was still trying to keep my chops up, but for some reason, like I just lost this love of maybe going to the tournaments. And I think it's weird because I think it's specifically because, and which something I will get into later today, it was because of I guess maybe a lost connection to the community. And I felt like I didn't have as much that was bringing me to tournaments as I did before. As you know, like we're both from the same region, we're both from this like really really tight knit region. And while everyone here in NorCal is awesome, and I really love all the people that I've hung out with, and I've made a lot of really good friends, I think there was this like something that was missing for a while that I just haven't been able to reignite here. And that's been my reason for kind of burning out from some of the tournaments that I've been going to.
Well, that's kind of compelling actually, because it puts you in the same shoes as many of our listeners, and B, just other people who are just getting into Smash Ultimate. Maybe Smash Ultimate is their first competitive Smash game, or maybe it's their first time kind of like trying to go to tournaments. And you're kind of in their shoes right now. Like, you don't really have a network of people in your local scene that you are like super close with, that you've made all these memories with. You're kind of a newcomer in a faraway land, even though it is your home now. And that's kind of compelling. I mean, as someone that loves the game, how are you planning on getting past that? Like, are you going to, you know what I mean? Like, how does someone like you, who currently doesn't have a strong connection with their immediate region, form that connection? And is it like a deliberate thing that you're going to try to do?
It will be extremely deliberate. Yeah. First of all, I am absolutely interested in engaging more with the community, and it's not like I haven't. I've made a lot of really good friends. Some I'd say is like almost equally as close as from the people back in the Central Coast, but I think what's happening is that I haven't been able to get those like homey interactions where you just go over to someone's house without thinking and just pop open a beer and just practice. And it's everything's been so deliberate. It's always been like, oh, like we're having a Smash Fest this one day, or like we're like planning out like all the times that we're gonna play. For some
Yeah.
reason, there's something attractive to me about just like really casually just like saying, yo, you want to play Smash? And then someone just like walks over to your house in 5 minutes. And I think I took that for granted so much when I had this like really, really tight knit of group of people that lived like right around me. And I think without that, I realized how spoiled I was and how much I just took that for granted.
Yeah, and I mean, come on. It also sucks that like we don't like, this is such a Smash Bros problem, because in every other game I play that has online, playing online is just as fun as playing in person with people. Like, you play a game of League of Legends, whether you're sitting next to them or, you know, in Discord, it's almost the same experience, right? Maybe you can't high five each other, but other than that, it's. But in
Yeah.
Smash, I mean, as much as a lot of people do enjoy online, I just don't. I kind of hate it. It doesn't feel like the same game to me at all, and I don't want to sugarcoat that. If some people don't really, if people disagree and they enjoy it, then I'm envious of them. I'm not criticizing that opinion. I don't like it, and it sucks that you don't have. I mean, you kind of agree with me there, right?
Absolutely. Like, honestly, as someone who plays DK as technically as I possibly can, at least now that I can finally say that officially, as
Yeah,
technically as you possibly can, and I've learned every special technique that requires different inputs, and as someone who utilizes down like the hand slap or down B reverse and down B reverse ledge cancels a lot, there are so many things that I have to do that are like, if there's even like three or four like frames of lag, it completely ruins my play.
right,
And it's like, it's so frustrating because I feel like I'm unlearning things. I feel like I'm getting away with things that I wouldn't be getting away with. Like whenever I recover for free, I think would I have gotten punished on that on like on land, because DK gets punished like for everything when he's trying to recover, but then you recover on something on Wi-Fi, and I'm like, did I just like become worse because I got away with that? Like
right,
I feel this like strange like cognitive dissonance in the fact that something worked, but I felt like it shouldn't have.
right, right. And I think this all stems to the fact that, like, because you can't have that experience, that the same experience playing the game online, you're dependent on playing in person. And when you don't have a community or a tight knit group of people that you want to play with and you want to see, it definitely can make the prospect of going to tournaments less attractive. And I've said this before, I'll say this again. You and I mean, we preach on mountaintops like Moses on Mount Sinai, right? About like the wonderful parts of Smash and why we believe it to be a fulfilling hobby, and a hobby that makes us better as people, not worse, right? That's our whole thing.
Right.
But I'm not gonna sit here and pretend that, you know, at the core of it, people come for the game and they stay for the community. They stay for the friends they meet. And if you don't have those friends, if your situation changes and, what you realize that you've loved about the game is stripped away from you, suddenly the initial kernel, the initial game that pulled you in, might not seem as compelling. And it's interesting. And I say this as somebody who's like extremely compelled by Smash. I mean, I go to Smash tournaments. I don't really know the people that are there right now, but I've been going to them. I've been having fun. But I'm also going to admit that, I'm much more likely to burn out or to feel tired of playing at those tournaments than I would be at a tournament or a small Smash Fest of people that I genuinely know and care about, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I'm feeling exactly the same way. I feel like there's less barrier to entry. There's less like of this inertia that comes with going to a Smash Fest or a low or basically a low stakes event, right? But then there's also this the huge thing for me has been travel time. So like online has been all I can all I've been able to manage, because the travel time to either people in my area or to events has been crazy. And the funny part is that, like you said, we've been preaching this so much. I spent like an entire episode on talking about community building by myself. And I'm like, and I think about it, I'm like, wow, it's like I'm actually being put in a situation where I think I'm the one who has to be proactive here, and I have to eat my own food and get on it. I don't think I can just sit back and let stuff come to me like I did in my previous region. And I think that is the path forward here.
Right, but it's almost like, it's like this is the example. It's like you adopt a puppy from the puppy pound, or was that, that's what's called, the pound, and
Yeah.
you love this puppy. This puppy's adorable. Its name is Theodore, and it prefers you to all other humans. It knows tricks. You know, it helped you attract like your inevitable wife, and you have all these great. And then Theodore gets hit by a car,
Oh my
and you're
god.
like, Jesus,
Dane.
Theodore, no. And then get this, you're like, man, well, I already have a full thing of dog food. Like, I already have a bowl. Okay, I'm just gonna go adopt another puppy. And then you're like, you know what? Damn it, this one's also called Theodore, right? But like 2 months in, like you ask Theodore, like your friend comes over, is like, Theodore, roll over, and this one doesn't know how to roll over. It just never clicked. And then you're like, man, and deep down it's wrong. Isn't that kind of the same thing? It's like,
this is the most depressing way you could have possibly described it.
No, but it's kind of...
It's so true, though. You're right, but it's like the worst. Why did you have to describe it this way?
Well, because that's how I'm feeling right now. I mean, like, that's the thing. It's like it's when you have a great thing and you've organically developed a passion or a community, it doesn't feel the same when after organically doing it to do it deliberately.
Yeah,
it takes some of the magic out of it, I think, and which is kind of the curse of it's a double-edged sword. It's like that's what makes organic things so special, but what also makes them special makes them impossible to replicate.
So,
right?
So the thing is, should we be chasing after replicating the first time, and will we ever feel as good as the first time? Are we gonna eventually just lay it down and just say, you know what, we're never gonna experience like we're never gonna have old Teddy doing the tricks again. But but it's like, so are we just gonna say, well, shit, like we're never gonna feel good again? Like, or as good again?
Right.
Like, what? Wait, how do we?
And that's the thing. Like, do you just wait for something organic, to develop again, or it's like if you encourage that, then you're discouraging what's the word? Proactivity.
Yes.
Right. And I think people should be proactive. You should be the change that you want to see in the world, right? It's the classic. I didn't make that up. Right. But at the same time, sometimes the sweetest things, it's like when you meet that cute little blonde at Albertsons and she's like, hey, should I drink the Pinot Grigio or the Chardonnay? And you're like, honey, you could have both. Come over to my apartment. And you share the white wines and it's this sexy sort of a thing. Right, as opposed to swiping right on Tinder and hoping for the best, right? Like, but at least the guy on Tinder planned it. You know what I mean? At least he's trying, right?
All right. Check this out. I think that like trying to get Teddy 2 is the wrong move. I think that's an insult to your first dog. I say you go out, you get maybe like a French bulldog named Hunter. And you make a completely new set of memories and a completely different set of memories with the new dog. I don't think you ever try to chase the old dog again. You appreciate those memories. I think you have to understand you're not going to be able to replicate that. So I think what you do is you reframe. And if taking this back to Smash, you reframe, you be proactive, and you don't try to chase that dragon. you don't try to chase like that one thing that you had before, and you have to recontextualize your goals.
Right. Well, where does this leave the attractive blonde at Albertsons? She still wants some Pinot Grigio.
Well, I mean, we don't have to move on from her. Like, we're still hanging out with her, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, wait, are we two timing this woman, Abhi? Is that what you're suggesting?
Look, man. Are we getting played?
I think we're approaching the limitations of this analogy.
Yeah, I think we are.
Well, okay, so let's pivot a little bit. Let's take this back more. We've been on an epic tangent. Let's pivot this back towards the initial problem, right? And it's that sometimes when it comes to Smash, the firsts are the most intense, the most significant experiences we have. The first time that you make a PR, the first time you win a tournament, the first time that you win a bracket match, whatever. There's a lot of firsts to be had in Smash. Eventually, you kind of run out of them, right? Like Smash is kind of front loaded in the sense that when you first start playing it, you have so much to learn. Everything that you learn is so impactful, relative to what you already know, because you don't know anything. And eventually you're like this scarred up war veteran who, is has learned so much, knows so much about the world that you're just like this like cynical, like you don't even want to learn anything new because you already have too much. You already have too much going on, and that's kind of the thing. It's like, uh, what are people supposed to do, Av, after they accomplish most of what most people are going to accomplish in Smash?
No, that's what I'm saying, man. That's where I was going with the hunter thing. Like,
With the French bulldog?
yeah, no, that's like that was my pivot. Like, because that's how we're gonna, because if what we're doing is we have to recontextualize the game. You have to let go of the firsts. Everyone has to let go of the first, otherwise you're gonna be stuck chasing something you're never ever gonna be able to relive again. What you can relive is that there are new firsts that you haven't really thought of as firsts, right? Anything can be a first if you like contextualize it that way.
Yeah. It's like, this is my first time winning a tournament on July 15th of 2019.
Yeah, exactly. It's like maybe it was your first summer win, or it's like your first, or it's like yeah, stuff like. No, but the whole point is that you're gonna have new breakthroughs that are not gonna hit like the first, but you have to appreciate yourself that you are making these like crazy strides, because the thing is that like the really really advanced tech that you place on top of your already really developed neutral game pushes you so much further, because now you are in that even more exclusive group of people who like have a good neutral, have this tech, and now you're like throwing stuff on. So the way that you have to think about it is that like you're not suddenly you're not just this person who's accumulating a lot of first things and accumulating a lot of first principles. You're this wonderful, nuanced, complex individual who is becoming part of an even more exclusive group of people every single time you like nail down another technique. That's the way I think of it. And it's like you're an MMO character who's like filling out the skill tree. So and in this case, the skill tree is infinite, and that's the beautiful part. It can seem like super like overwhelming at times, like thinking about it that way. But you have to be able to appreciate, and you have to be able to lose the ego of saying like that, or thinking that you're good, or thinking that you are like you have reached a point that like that is amazing, or you have to, or maybe you can be happy with yourself. But if you want to improve and you want to get those like firsts or those dopamine hits, as we've talked about before, you have to lose the ego, and you have to say, hey,
but let me counterpoint this though. Like there's something about like you say the ego. There's certain things that I think are independent of ego. Let's say like just the general diminishing returns of like competing in Smash Bros tournaments, right? Let's say you've been losing to a guy forever, for months, and then he's like having an off night, or maybe you're just playing on and you just body him. Like you finally get that first win. Maybe your lifetime you were 0-10 against this guy, but you finally make him bleed, and and then you're feeling on cloud 9, and then the next tournament you go to, he just stomps you, business as usual. It's as if last week never happened. And it's like that kind of crushing concept of like, okay, you take one step forward and one step back. And let's say, you do finally beat him again. Well, at that point, at least for me, and I think this is a lot of people, a lot of competitors. I mean, if you're playing Smash competitively, you probably are competitive in nature, right? But you'll finally beat him again, and you'll be like, okay, thank God I beat him, like I should have been doing, since I already have proven myself that I'm capable of it. Therefore, I should have been able to do it again, more promptly. And like you kind of, I don't know, like after you do things multiple times, it kind of becomes a part of your routine. It becomes like something that you expect of yourself. It doesn't become like this reward. Like the actual process itself stops becoming rewarding.
So, okay, I like that counterpoint, and here's my response to that.
Okay.
The competitor in me, like the fiery like warrior in me, when I get that win against someone, and then they beat me again the next week, and maybe I beat them again like the week after that, and the win doesn't feel as good, I'm not thinking about that. I'm looking at how hard I won. I'm looking at, was it a close game? Was it game 3, last stock, last hit both times? Was it, did I beat him harder like this time? Was it closer this time? There's so many micro goals that you can set there. Like if you beat someone consistently over and over again, but you're beating them consistently over and over again in game 3, last stock, last hit scenarios, you're not really like completely beating them, even though your record may say like 7-0 or 10-0. You're just clutching out that one situation in game 3. What you need to do is you need to be able to not rest on those laurels, and you have to say, I need to drill down and reinforce the stuff that I'm already getting down well, because it's not good enough. Because someday that coin flip is not gonna like go in my favor, and I'm gonna lose that last stock, last hit game 3.
It's funny you say, I've actually like won so many sets like that recently, like game 3 where I just kind of clutch out the last stock, and every single time I walk away, like this is speaking of ego, like every time I walk away from the setup, I'm just like, whoo. Now, let's go, baby. He did it again. He did it again. And I have like no sort of, I'm so dishonest with myself about like how close so many of the sets I win are. Every time I win, I just, it's a wash. It's like, oh, I won. No questions asked. How'd the set go? Oh, I won. Well, I'll spare you the details. I won. Right. But yeah, no, I think that's a good point. But I guess while I like that attitude that you just described, and like the kind of the thirst for not just victory, but for really outplaying your opponent, for really getting a grasp, and like maybe you beat him last week. Well, this week I'm going to like dominate him, or I'm going to like, oh, I noticed this habit from him last week. I'm going to totally expose this weakness in his game that I didn't quite expose the last time I played him, and I wish I had. Right? I think that's an awesome approach. But what do you think about like when people just feel apathetic? Like sometimes it's like it's just like the rhythm of like the circadian rhythm, right? This is a bad analogy, but the whole concept of like sometimes you're awake, sometimes you're sleepy, and your body just kind of goes back and forth like a pendulum in this rhythm, right? It's like that in Smash with me. Sometimes I'm in that bloodthirsty, carnal Wolverine howling at the moon, ripping my shirt off kind of mode. And sometimes I go to a tournament and I just feel like why am I here? Like I could be with my girlfriend. I could be, catching up on a show or playing a different game I've been liking recently, or, spending time with a friend or family. I don't really want to be here, but I'm here. And why is that so? And it's like, how do you address that kind of pendulum swinging that people seemingly experience other than myself? I mean, well, first of all, do you experience that before you answer?
So I want to say yes. First of all, yes, I experienced it. I want to answer that before I go on any more tangents. And the reason why I think it's easy to ignore that feeling is because humanity or our experiences are so current biased, and they're so like timeline indifferent. We're always looking for immediate pleasure. And let me elaborate on this.
Can I say something? Like everything you just said, I was like, hell yeah. And I'm like, wait, what did any of that mean?
Okay. Let's break that down. So the reason that right now I'm like super juiced, like I'm really excited, and that like I'm in this state of I want to be a competitor. Because of that, I'm giving all of this advice and I'm saying all of these things. Do a meta-analysis of what I'm saying. I'm saying all these things that are like, yeah, let's go be a competitor. You're gonna beat him harder. You're gonna like eviscerate him next time, even if you barely won the last time. The thing is that I think if you look 3 weeks ago, I was not in that state. I was in a state where I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna try to play whenever possible. I'm watching VODs. I'm being a little more relaxed with the game. I definitely didn't have this kind of energy, and that's and I think your analogy is on point. I think it's one of the better ones we've seen today.
Come on, man.
Look, man.
Look, someone's not getting any Pinot Grigio. All right. I bought that bottle.
Oh god. But I actually I agree. Like you have to take advantage of these extremely competitive surges that you get, and
I'm
you
still laughing when you said sorry.
and you have to be able to know how to pull back and how to maximize your states when you don't have this competitive drive. Because I think that you're better at different things when you're in both of those states. I don't think that it's just a complete net loss when you go into a less competitive or like a low energy state, because I think it gives you more time to be analytical and it gives you more time to maybe do some VOD reviews of your own game, catch up on the latest tech and catch up on the metagame, and then maybe you'll find something that inspires you and then throws you back into into like the fiery mode. And I think this hot and cold, if you utilize it to the max instead of fighting against it, is really helpful for people.
Yeah, no, I love that stuff. I love that. And I think a lot of people, like, you'll hear people say that kind of abstractly. Well, they'll say, man, just take a break. Take a step back from the game, come back, you'll be better, trust me. And while I totally agree with that, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with saying that advice, I want to kind of explore, okay, well, how does that actually work, right? Like, what are we actually doing here? What's the procedure, boss? And that's kind of the funny thing is I think we all go through it. And I think that, like, people, they do a good job of realizing when they're not in a state to compete, when they're just feeling burnt out with the game. People have a great sense of that. But people, I think, also don't have an amazing sense of when they're super into the game and when they are, how privileged that might be, and also like how they could best utilize that state, right? Because you're not always going to be juiced. So when you are, you better make the most of it. Like you better, recognize that situation. Say, look, I'm gonna, like you did, I'm gonna learn attack canceling or some tech skill, some like kill combo that my character has that's really specific. I'm gonna learn some percent windows for certain confirms, or I'm going to study like a few matchups that I'm not very great at. Really kind of making the best optimal use of the time where you actually are willing to put that work in.
I love that. I absolutely agree, because I think that it's a lot more like going along with the flow of your motivation rather than just trying to fight it and be fiery the entire time. Or maybe you're super analytical and you're trying to be cold the entire time. And like sometimes this raging beast wants to unleash from inside you, and like
Yeah.
that
was me. That was me at Albertsons, to be fair. You just you had to unleash the French bulldog within. All right, Hunter, it's your turn. Who in the? I don't mean to pull a Michael Vick here, bud, but who do you got in the fight? Theodore or Hunter in a 1v1?
Hunter, man. Hunter's like, actually, you didn't actually buy a French bulldog. You accidentally bought a honey badger.
What?
I don't know. Hunter just feels like a honey badger in a dog's body.
Okay.
Like, so Hunter's taken down.
Are honey badgers known for fighting? Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, I think they are. And I don't know. There's like internet meme about them that they're like these like really badass animals.
Oh yeah, no, I've seen that video. Okay, but I didn't disclose what breed Theodore was. I just got him from the pound. Actually, I might have said he was a golden retriever. I was imagining a golden
honey
retriever.
Badger don't care, dude. It's like
all right. I'll give this round 1 to Hunter.
All right.
But you were talking about the beast unleashing.
Yes. Yeah, it's like I think trying to control your different states is sometimes detrimental. I think that one of the most important things is when you're in a state where you're in a bit of a rut and you haven't gone to tournaments lately, and you're starting to get into this like habitual burnout. And that's the really concerning time, because if you go into a rest period and then you never come out of it because you just kind of get used to being in that period, that's the time where you're going to be where you might actually need help. Now, there's a few studies on this. So there's some studies on burnout and about alleviating burnout symptoms. And we have one by Arnold Baker and Patricia Costa, who find that employees with high levels of burnout need help in structurally changing their working conditions and health status. So there is some stuff about in the literature about how you can't always only rely on yourself, and you have to be okay taking help from other people. And this finding is actually replicated in some other meta analyses of this with like similar studies. And I think I agree. I think burnout sometimes requires structural intervention.
Well, interesting. So where would people derive this structural intervention?
So I think you have to in the Smash community because the infrastructure for support is a lot different. Obviously, at your job, your employer has some kind of incentive to keep you around. You're providing value to the company. You're doing your job.
Yeah.
So, but in Smash, it's like, what is the community's incentive to keep you around? So I think the more you think
if
about
they want to
that,
get dunked on by a wolf, I guess they could keep me around.
Right. But then, I mean, but it's not like, but you haven't like really ingrained yourself in the community yet, right? You haven't found something that'll keep you coming back every time. So what I'm thinking is that you need to basically proactively find friends. It's like going to the gym. Proactively find friends that are going to hold you responsible and make you feel bad for not showing up.
Or like an AA meeting. You need to build like a support network. I mean, I say that not lightly. I mean,
right? Like, we're not gonna. I think it's you're exactly right in terms of like understanding the support aspect of it. I think I want to use the gym metaphor because it's a little because I think that'll probably apply to a wide wide group of people because I think that
but like you think of support networks, you're like, hey, my name is Dane and I'm currently burnt out on Smash Ultimate. It's like the whole no. Is that just me?
No, I won't leave you hanging here because I agree. I think maybe if there was some kind of support network, it would work. I think that talking to people and interact and like talking about your problems is super important. So I'm with you. I think like having that is important. But again, we don't have
put it into a Smash context. Yeah. Like how would you find a role that would suffice to fill this need within the Smash community? Like, give me an example of how you see this actually working out.
Well, it's like a gym buddy. It's like the easiest way is finding one person and saying, "Hey, you gotta like just becoming good friends with them." Saying, "Hey, hold me accountable." Like make me feel bad if I don't show up. Like we said, like going to tournaments shouldn't feel like a bad thing.
But I don't want to like not go to tournaments. Oh no, Brian's gonna be pissed if I don't show up. Fuck that, dude. I don't want that burden. Like I want to go up. I don't want to go because I want to do it. I don't want to go.
This is not okay. Well, the thing is, you're clearly motivated, self-motivated enough to go. This is not.
But if I'm not self-motivated to go, I just don't want to go. I don't want to not go because Brian is like, hey man, I really wanted to, play a friendly match with you. It's like, nah, screw you, Brian. I don't need you leech.
Look, I don't know. Brian seems like a great guy. Like, I like
well, let's say this. I don't like your example there. But I do agree with what you're saying. One step, like withdrawn. Like maybe put yourself in a position of leadership. Like like get yourself like a side gig, right? Start commentating. Or maybe be responsible for the streams to that. Maybe like play doubles with Brian or someone else, right? Like if there's a doubles event at your local or whatever, like taking an actual position of leadership. Maybe try to qualify for a PR spot. Like like work with the community to provide PR incentives like that require tournament attendance, stuff like that. I think is great for this sort of thing. But
right, I mean, it's not obvious. You can't just go up to someone and say, "Hey, make me feel bad if you don't show up," or you can't just like It's really hard to artificially do that, but sometimes you got to fake it till you make it.
Well, give me a realistic example of that, Abhi. I don't understand.
Well, like I said, it's just like you become good friends with someone, and then it's kind of innate. Like you don't have to like. It's like if you become really good friends with someone and you play a lot of friendlies with them, you play a lot of friendlies with them outside of the game, and you both go to the same local every time. It's an innate psychological like feeling that you say, okay, this is the time I get to hang out with this one friend, or like I'm gonna go meet him. We're gonna go hang out. I'm not.
Yeah, maybe you could
I'm
like
not saying,
carpool with somebody or something like that.
exactly. That's another really good example of how to enforce that, like structurally. But yes, like I'm not saying to go out there.
Look, if somebody walked into me at a tournament and was like, "Hey, Peon, you know, you're my homie, dude. I really want to see you every Thursday. So just like, if I don't come to these tournaments, just like message me and like ask me to come next week." I'm like, dude, never talk to me again. But if someone was like, "Yeah, bro, want to carpool next week?" I'd be like, "Sure." And that would be a sneaky way to like build some kinship for sure.
No, I actually like what you brought up, because I mean, you don't want to ever have to like put the burden on someone else for you to show up. I think that's kind of selfish. So I agree. I think you shouldn't have to burden someone else. But the way that I wanted to more clearly describe it, which you got out of me, thank you for making me clarify, is that you have to like build these relationships, and you have to proactively like integrate yourself into the community, so that there's something like holding you there. There's something like it's like in Finding Nemo when they're in the like when the fishermen catch a bunch of the fish.
Yeah.
It's like the fish in the center aren't moving anywhere. Like those guys are stuck because they're so like deep in the community. Our analogies are super weird today.
No, I like that one. I like that one.
Those guys are stuck. But the guys on the fringe, they don't have many interactions. They're not that like they're not that integrated. So it's really easy for them to slip away, and for no one to remember, no one to feel anything. So there's you haven't created all these loose ties with people that kind of psychologically associate like good feelings with showing up to a certain place. I think it's a lot about finding ways to help yourself, but also creating relationships that allow you to just maximize your like happiness in the community.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. Like you can kind of socially tether yourself, and while you'll also feel more responsible to go, which has potential drawbacks, you'll also enjoy it more, right? And I guess when it comes down to like, you know, burnout, part of, to me, like what we outlined earlier, part of what contributes to the burnout is a lack of like meaningful social interaction at your tournaments, or you know, or in your greater Smash community. So I think like if you do want to be the best player you can be, at least thinking about this stuff is helpful. Like, I can't imagine many top players became top players, you know, in a community they despised, or like without having friends to like show up with, you know, in these kind of at the period where they were still mid-level players, you know, on the rise. You kind of need to build these networks. It's an unfortunate consequence. It's unfortunate and fortunate. But either way, it is a consequence of having terrible online. You know, like this is the stuff. This is the world we live in. This is the reality of the situation.
I think it's good. In some sense, it's good because it does allow you to create more of these bonds, and kind of helps you, and it helps you just practice being a real person instead of
building real skills, as opposed to just like learning how to queue up for Elite Smash, which I have done. See, I just found out today my Ridley's on there somehow. I'm like, I think I've played Ridley like 3 times and just never played Ridley again on Elite Smash.
Dude, I think no one's playing Ridley in Elite Smash. I think that's why you've held your title for so long.
Just by process of elimination.
But yeah, I like that. I kind of like where we ended out. I think it's super important to just create these relationships and make sure that even at your lowest, you always have a nice little support group to make sure that you're to kind of loop you back in. And I think that is what I'm going to do going forward in terms of building out like a stronger support group around me with the competitive scene. And I think once I start proactively doing that, we're going to see some results.
Cool, man. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing the updates. I think I'm going to try to do the same thing. My particular plan of attack is I want to get on the mic more and commentate, you know, and do a good job so they feel like, man, I wish Peon was here to commentate. You know, like I like having that kind of like side role to do at tournaments. It's fun for me. Yeah. So yeah, you know, I've been kind of apathetic about doing it recently, but I'm going to intentionally do so, hoping that it will keep me coming, you know, in the future. AV, I think that we kind of wrapped up everything I wanted to talk about in terms of Burnout. I think we did like a pretty great deep dive into all this stuff. And I guess I challenged the people at home who are listening to analyze themselves. Are they in kind of that daytime period where they just can't quit playing Smash, where they just want more and more and more? Smash Summit number 2 is coming out. They want to qualify. They want to watch. They want to improve. Or is this like, look, man, the game's been out for 6 months, pretty much on the dot. And, there's a lot of cool E3 just happened. There's lots of cool games and to play. And I want to spend my time doing other things, and how do you make the most of those periods? I encourage you guys to do some introspection and to, find out where you lie on that spectrum.
Absolutely, man. I second that.
Well, AV, let's get on to some questions. Our first question this week comes from Minlo, and it's a bit of a doozy, so grab on to whatever you're holding on to. It's dark and rainy outside. Not much else to do but play Smash. Maybe try that new VR mode that was recently added. Why not? You boot up your Switch and don your Labo headgear, and as you hit the A button to select the VR mode, lightning strikes. You're now in the game. Your home and everyone that resides within is okay, don't worry. And a patch follows the night of your entrapment, and you're in everyone else's game now too. What's your moves? What is your move set? Specials, tilts, and why not give yourself a final smash in costume alt? And what character archetype do you fall under? AV, I want you to take a crack at this first.
Oh my god! Ugh, I can't believe I'm answering this without thinking about it. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, we're for some transparency, we are totally spitballing here. So
all right,
we
cool.
haven't thought about this.
I'm Neo from the Matrix. I'm like a version of that. So think Joker. If he only had a gun, he had like 2 guns. I'm dual wielding guns, and I don't know if you played like Lucian from League of Legends.
Yeah, of course.
So that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking so I think we have like some sort of gun moves for specials. So like maybe your specials would just fire off like maybe like some flashes of light, and then but your regular attacks would all be ranged, which would be really cool. Like you could fire, it's like Me Gunner and a Mega Man mix, where you just like fire off gunshots for your like F tilts, and then same for your like forward airs. So like I don't think I can go. I don't want to go like too much deeper into that without like losing sight of that. But yeah, like just like Lucian, maybe you have like a dash with your like side B, so you could like strafe. So you can like strafe around in this like 2D environment. I think it would be super cool. Like, so
you'd be like a zoner kind of a guy.
Yeah,
it's kind of American of you, AV, to just be a gun wielder, a gunslinger.
Maybe I'd be a pirate. Yeah.
Oh, so like a
maybe
Gangplank mixed with Lucian?
Yeah, take everything you just heard, but make it into a dual-wielding pirate. I like that idea.
Okay. Yeah, I'm into that, dude. I'm into that.
Oh my god, I got it. The final smash is like a Kraken comes out of nowhere and just and just kind of slaps the screen silly.
Yeah.
That is I think that is it. That has to be it.
Okay. I like that, man. Okay, so I'm kind of like a big, like, think of like a Celtic. Like I have a kilt, and I have like a big cup of mead, and it's just like sloshing around, and it's almost like an ink meter. Like I have to charge it, I have to like refill it, and I can throw it in my enemies. I'm like a drunken brawler. What's that called? Like the classic, like martial art where they fight drunk.
Like the wave, the drunken fist or whatever.
Yeah, I like that where I have this big. I'm
drunken
smashing
master.
it on people's heads.
It's called a drunken master.
Yeah, I'm a drunken master, and I'm like kind of bobbing and weaving, but I still pack up. It doesn't look pretty, but it's effective. And I have a big. Think of me like a Gragas from League of Legends.
I was gonna say that. I was like, did we both like?
Yeah. Where I throw barrels of wine at people, and it's just this. Like, there's no alcohol in Smash. Like, we have to. Someone needs to do it, and if that's going to be me, Sakurai, then god damn it, I volunteer as tribute.
So, this is a bonus too. AV, would you play as Peon in bracket? You sound like a heavy.
Yeah, I mean, I do weigh 235 pounds. I'm kind
So
of a hefty Viking looking dude. So yeah, probably.
I do play all the heavies, so I think I would have I do have to I would definitely secondary you if, but it might be tertiary because I don't know
Yeah.
if I'm a fan of that. I feel like you would be too lumbering for me.
Oh, to be clear, I'm low tier as hell. I'm not winning I'm never winning a major.
Yeah. Okay. So my character sounds obnoxious, by the way. My character sounds
Yeah. Oh, I
impossible to
would not
bounce.
play. I would not play your character. Your character's like villager players would like love your character.
Yeah.
No way.
But
No offense to my villagers out there, but that just does not sound fun to me.
it sounds
Dashing
dope.
around with your gun.
It sounds dope, dude. Okay, well, that's why I think that's hilarious. Like, I might play your character, but I don't think. Yeah, I don't think you would touch my character at all. All
Oh
right,
man,
going
I'm
on to the next
sorry.
one.
Okay, so next one is Ollie Jolly, the homie, asks, "Do you foresee any sleeper picks in the meta that are going to climb up the tier list in the future, given no dramatic patches that currently make the current meta irrelevant? Who would you like to see more of in the competitive scene, either for entertainment's sake or for like the sake of a healthier meta?" And Ollie Jolly does not exactly know what that means. Apparently, that's what he says.
Okay. Why don't you go ahead and give the first answer to that?
Oh, sure. So I mean, in response to Fatality coming on last week, in terms of like sleeper picks, I think kind of those, and to use his own terminology, those like kind of late meta characters are going to see more love in the near future. The really difficult characters. So like the Greninjas. We saw Stroder do some big things recently at a tournament. Um, the Captain Falcons of the world. Um, Sheik. I think Sheik's kind of asleep right now just because um, she was so bad early on, and she's a character that requires a lot of optimization. So I think that Pikachu is a character that is so good. I don't
Yep.
think that people sleep on his skill,
Yep.
but I'm wondering if a lot of the Pichu players who are dropping Pichu are going to give Pikachu an honest try, just because there is a lot of similarities between the two characters. But I could see those kind of faster archetypal characters that have crazy combo games. Like once people really start to understand their punish game better and start to optimize it's super scary. Like that's kind of what happened in Smash 4. Like by the end of it, all those characters' punish games were just completely solved, and it was terrifying.
So first of all, I think I agree with most of your picks. I'll echo the ones that I was thinking about with Pikachu. Although Pikachu is considered top tier, I think Pikachu is just so is like, because Pikachu did not receive any hurt in the last patch and even got like a grab range buff for some
Yeah.
reason. I think that Pikachu is now easily one of the top 5 characters in the game, without a doubt. More people should pick him up. I think it's not really sleeper, and I know you guys probably have a lot of like players of this character in your community, but I think Inkling is going to is going to become more popular. I think Inkling should be more popular. I just think that if the patches go as planned and Inkling remains more and more untouched, I think Inkling is going to climb to the top. And then finally,
Really?
yeah,
I disagree. I think Inkling is going to be less and less used. Inkling is so hard, dude. Like as an Inkling main,
that's why
everybody says about their own character, but people don't like playing as Inkling because like she's difficult to get the most out of, and she's really easy to get something out of. So it's just like frustrating to like messing around with her is kind of fun, but actually putting in the work to like understand her kill setups and stuff. Dude, she's so hard. No one's gonna secondary Inkling.
You've now described what a late game character is. Like, I think Inkling's.
Yeah, no, you're right. I just don't think more people are gonna start playing her. I think that the Inklings are gonna start doing better, but I don't think that there's gonna be like a new wave of Inkling players.
Interesting.
That's I guess what I was disagreeing with. Mostly.
Okay, I can agree with that. And then Bowser. I think Bowser's going to climb up. Bowser, I think, has shown far and away to be the best heavy character, able to make upsets on a lot of top tiers. And I think that even though people accept that Bowser's really good, just by raw numbers, I think Bowser will climb up the tier list.
One that slipped past us even right now, Shulk. Shulk's a character that's so good, and you only see a few people playing him.
Oh my god.
I'm terrified of like late game Shulk. Like if
Is this gonna happen again? Where we just don't? Where like everyone said that in Smash 4 is like, oh my god, Shulk, and Shulk's gonna be so good if everyone masters everything, and then there was a few good ones, but nothing really happened.
Like Nico and SoCal and
Kome.
there was quite a few, but Kome of course. I had a great Shulk player in my region previous to NorCal, and so scary what that character could do right now. I mean, that people just don't understand. Like his uppies at a shield with Smash Art just kill you at like 60.
Yeah,
like it's so scary. Like so in terms of what characters I would like to see for entertainment's sake or just for healthy meta, I don't really know about for a healthier meta. I don't really know if I have the answer for that one, but at least in terms of entertainment's sake, I would like to see more heavies doing well. I don't really see too many, K rules, DKs. There are a few Bowsers doing stuff. DDDs. I feel like I saw a lot more heavies back in Smash 4, and I just think it's kind of fun to watch. If every like 1 every 5 or 1 every 4 sets you see on stream, there's a big boy on there. I think it's just so distinct from the other matchups that like it's fun to watch, at least for me.
Yeah, I agree, and I think I would like to see some more Ken, Ryu, and Lucario. Those 3 characters I don't think have gotten enough love, and especially with all of the recent changes to those 3, we are likely going to be seeing more. Also, Marth.
Yeah, man. Our boy Fatality last week played against Sue in an amazing Game 5 set. Lucario Falcon. One of my favorite sets of Ultimate. Go give that a watch. Just to cheer on our boy Fatality, who unfortunately lost, but it was a crazy set. Finally, AV, we have one more question from the homie Leaf, who asks, how much time should I give to Smash per week? Leaf wants to be competitive, but doesn't want to neglect studies or other things that Leaf finds important. AV, I mean, I have a feeling I know what you're going to say, but go for it.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, obviously, I would say definitely not. Don't neglect studies if you're gonna smash instead of playing. If you're gonna smash instead of studying for something, don't do that. However, I think just like any other hobby or anything you need to kind of keep up your chops at, the time is less important than just booting up the game. So like if you want to like be able to control your amount of play, or if you want to make sure that you're not like losing your skill, or that you're not like training enough or too much, just like play about like an hour a day. Like don't make it random where you just like on some like Wednesday nights you just pull all-nighters. Just instead, it's so much more healthy to just like maybe throw in 30 minutes or an hour like every day. So just make sure it's the human body and your brain likes patterns and habits a lot more than it likes random like ridiculous changes. So if you want to be competitive and you want the rest of your life to kind of fit into that, then I would recommend forming a schedule as I said.
Yeah, I like it. And of course, like we don't know all of your, the things that you have to do, Leaf, but it kind of depends on the person, right? If you have, a few hours a day to give into Smash, let me put it this way. There's no set amount of time that you need to get better, right? It's about making good use of the time that you do have. So look at your schedule and say, okay, I have this much time that I'm willing to put towards Smash, and then spread it out. Just like AB said, like maybe you have 5 hours a week to do it. Okay, do 1 hour a day during the weekdays, and then on the weekend, maybe you're outside playing fetch with your French bulldog, right? Yeah. But AB, I think that's all the time we have for this week. It's been a pleasure, man. It's been a fun one to record with you. I'm definitely not burnt out of this conversation. I could keep on keeping on,
yeah,
if we had to. But my man, where can people find you?
People can find me on Twitter at A Vaidyanatha. That's A plus my long Indian last name. And if you don't want to figure that out, you can go over to the Beyond Metagame Twitter. Where can people find that, Peon?
They can find that at Beyond Metagame. That's right, Beyond Metagame. The show that you're currently listening to is titled Beyond the Metagame, but Twitter doesn't quite give a damn. They said we only have enough characters for Beyond Metagame, so we made do. You can find me at Peon_BTM. That's Peon_BTM. That's Bravo Tango Mike for all of you ranchers. And something funny over there, AB?
No, ranchers are awesome. Yeah, it's always so random.
And of course,
if you're a rancher and you listen to this show, please reach out to us, please.
Okay. You can also support us on Patreon. You can access, any one of our patrons can access our monthly show, Beyond the Metagame, where our patrons actually curate the show. They tell us what to talk about, what bits to do. We talk about everything but Smash, and we kind of have a lot of like fun games. Like in the first episode, we like had this long conversation with a Denny's employee, and AV like feeded me what words I had to incorporate into my next sentence, and it became this hilarious like improvised conversation. Shout outs to Barbie from Denny's. If you want to check that stuff out, you can support us on Patreon, and of course we also have merchandise, which will be linked in the show below. And ultimately, no pun intended, you can join our Discord. The BTM Discord is a super awesome place. Frankly, I'm not really in. Maybe neither of us are really into the whole Smash Discord scene. It just isn't our thing. But our Discord is much different than any other Smash Discord I've ever belonged to. People are super nice. People are just kind of very improvement oriented, both in and out of game. And it's just a great place to be, frankly. And you can find that on our website and in the show notes as well. But that is all we have for now. As always, thank you for listening, and goodbye.